Okay. Okay, everyone, welcome to our final session of the day. This is the session with Trucker Tools, our Integrate with FMS session. This is going to be really good. We have our guest speaker here who I'll introduce here in a moment. Who's going to talk about kind of our integration with Trucker Tools, and I'll be demonstrating how that kind of looks on our end, in your day-to-day, business, essentially. Okay. For those of you that haven't attended any other sessions previously, obviously welcome. This is our first annual Freight Management Systems Conference 2022. Again, the purpose of this conference is, our communications between us and you, right? We want to show you guys, things that we're doing on our end, have that transparency so you can see the improvements we're trying to make, to further and better your business. And obviously that's our main goal, right? We're not successful if you're not successful. And that's the biggest takeaway we want you guys to have for this conference. A couple of house rules before we kind of get rolling into this session. We're going to have our guest speaker present here. And then I will show essentially how it looks in the demo system. Obviously, any questions you have, we don't want to limit you guys, but we are going to keep questions to the end of the session. So anything you think of as you're going along, whether it's for Trucker Tools specifically or for our end, our integration, or kind of a mix of both, anything that pops up, feel free to utilize the chat feature at the bottom of your screen, or you can raise your hand using the reactions button. We'll definitely, myself or anyone else will definitely keep tabs on it. That way we can certainly get to you and your question at the end for anything that you may have, regarding things that you might see today. But without further ado, we're going to get started. So we do have VP Matt Silver, Partnerships and the Strategic Alliances here. We're so happy to have him take the time to kind of talk about, our partnership, the great things that Trucker Tools is doing, and the future of kind of how we're working together, again, to help your business, because that's the most important thing. But I'm not going to take any more of Matt's thunder here, so I'm going to turn it over to you. Go ahead, Matt.
Awesome. Thanks, Raven. And thanks everybody for jumping on. I know these conferences, especially in the virtual age that we're in right now, can be a little bit tedious. So jumping into this, I am Matt Silver, the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Alliances with Trucker Tools. Cut my teeth on the brokerage side of this industry for just over a decade. Got a couple of companies acquired and helped scale quite a few before jumping into the software side. So I've taken a lot of my background and put that into the work that we do here at Trucker Tools. So let's just get right to it. And we'll start with, what is Trucker Tools? Trucker Tools is a carrier relationship management platform that provides load visibility, predictive freight matching, and trip planning solutions for our industry. Our platform gives brokers accurate, real-time data, optimally matching freight with trucks and allowing them to track loads from beginning to end. Our popular driver app provides automated real-time shipment tracking to eliminate check calls and improve operational efficiency for both the broker and the carrier on the transaction. So our platform is centered around the Trucker Tools driver app. This is the app that not only is the most downloaded in our industry, it's also the least deleted among the driver community. And I always think that's an important point to make there. So today, we're about 175 unique carrier MC numbers on the platform, and that's represented by over 1.5 million drivers who have downloaded the app so far. The reason we have such a high number of downloads in the app is all of the free tools that we feature in the app for them. So routing, fuel discounts, anything that they're going to need, they've got right at the palm of their hands. Again, everything is for free there. We don't charge them any monthly fees, which seems to be sorry, my screen's jumping around there. Excuse me. So there's no monthly fees for the drivers in the app, no subscription. The byproduct of this is that the driver audience is super engaged with all of these features. And every time that they click through the app, we're matching them to more freight, and then we're providing the visibility on those shipments back to you. So we've got an end-to-end solution here, and I apologize, my mouse keeps zooming in there. Within our solution, we take your open load, we match it to the right carriers, both in network as well as out of network. And then we're going to provide those matches back to you. So you can send some of your loads to our Book It Now platform to be booked only by in-network carriers. Once we have your match, we provide real-time visibility of the shipment from pickup through delivery. We can also track the driver through our app or through their ELD, whichever they prefer. And we offer document exchange right inside the driver app as well. Then all of this process is going to start over. We look to match that same truck to one of your open loads before we expose that driver as capacity to any other broker. And I think that's super important. So if you have a shipment on one driver, we're going to try to keep him on your freight as long as possible with reloads before that's exposed to anybody else. So once you have the right carrier on your load, we're going to help you get that visibility from beginning to end of the transaction. Again, we can grab it through the app, or we can grab it from their ELD provider, really whatever the driver chooses as their best path forward. We can help you share the tracking data with your shippers to meet their KPIs. The efficiency improves relationships with drivers on your loads and engages them to book more of your freight. You won't have to ask them to download another new app. Again, if you find the capacity on our platform, they're already our user. They don't have to install anything else or subscribe to another website. When we ask brokers what their average compliance for tracking is, almost always we're hearing right about 30%. And with that, I've lived it. I've been on the brokerage side of the fence where I was doing everything, including building teams, trying to get our tracking compliance up, making sure that we met all the KPIs that we were under contract with our shippers. So I've lived it. I definitely know and feel the frustration on that side of the fence. The Trucker Tools customers get an average tracking compliance of 72% from start to finish. And this is because our capacity matches are already trackable within the app. Again, all of our capacity comes from engaged drivers. We have customers that follow our best practices, and they're receiving 90% tracking compliance, which you can imagine is time saving on their side. And achieving the big numbers like that is really, I apologize, we lost the screen share there. Let me get that back up for you. Hopefully you guys can see that there. So the big numbers in tracking compliance are joint efforts by our brokers, drivers, and our team working together. It's definitely everybody's in the same boat trying to help each other out. And this is all over the place. Apologize about that. So Trucker Tools, we get the success that we have with tracking compliance because of the team and resources that we put behind it. So we've got a training and success team that's available for all of our customers as well as our drivers. On the driver side, the team is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in English as well as Spanish. It's important to us that everybody has success on our platform, both on the brokerage and the driver side. So all customer training, coaching, and sharing of best practices is just part of the standard subscription with our company. We don't charge any additional fees or any of that. We've got a little case study here that we did with one of our customers, LTI Delivers, and hopefully it stays focused on the whole slide for you. Of course it won't. In this case study with LTI, you can see we were able to help them push their tracking compliance on brokered loads as high as 90%. And what this related to in actual time savings is we cut their daily check calls by 40%. So certainly their team was able to look for additional freight with that the time savings by not tracing down where is the truck. I want to jump into one of my favorite tools. This is what the drivers see in their app. And this is a workflow that we've implemented there. So when drivers cross the plane to delivery, they're going to go ahead and see this pop up on their device. Our camera opens within their app, and then we can focus and capture an image very similar to if you've made a banking deposit through your bank app in the last couple of years. So we're going to fixate on that image of the POD, get it uploaded via the app, and then pass that along to you. And one of the most important pieces of digital freight matching is helping you find that needle in a haystack driver, the driver who can haul your freight, but you've not done business with them yet. So we're looking at out-of-network carriers, somebody that you don't quite know yet. We also try to match your delivering trucks and your in-network trucks to your available loads as soon as those loads are built. This keeps, obviously, the driver relationship building with your brand. And then with some of this booking process automated, your team obviously has more time to build the human connection with drivers and customers. That's always a big thing. And again, I apologize. My computer is absolutely freaking out on this side of the fence. It's going to take me just a moment to get the slide back here. So the goal of our digital freight matching platform is to help reduce and eliminate those variable costs of covering a load, namely the labor cost involved with it. So Trucker Tools digital freight matching helps you minimize the number of phone calls that are required and carrier interactions required to book a load. We're going to help you be a little bit more efficient in that process. I know in my past on the brokerage side, we'd sling loads out to the post and pray sites. We'd blow up our own phones. And you've got half of your team trying to cover one load where you may not be making the most money there. So freeing up staff to find more freight, new carriers, source additional capacity. This is really what we're focusing on with our digital freight matching. With our fully automated book it now process, you get to select which of your most reliable carriers get to see the loads and have the opportunity to book within the app. So right from inside the driver app, they can select a load, namely in your after hours, and assign themselves to it. It doesn't have to be all of your loads. It doesn't have to be all of your in-network carriers. So you define who gets to see the loads, when they get to see the loads, and what loads they can see. Your variable costs on booking loads through this method are significantly reduced, as you can imagine. You've got drivers after hours or on weekends, when your office may be closed, looking for loads, especially those drivers that are delivering to grocers in the wee hours of the morning. So with digital freight matching, carriers matching the lane that you're looking for, they initiate the discussion of rate or terms, the driver app or our carrier portal, and all of that feeds right back to you. Some drivers do still like to hear a voice, so we definitely enable them to still contact you. And this is on your screen right now. Hopefully you guys can see that. This is the workflow that drivers see right in the app. So in our system, 90% of all matches are carrier initiated, which I think is just a massive, massive number. So as a freight geek, that just stands out to me that and again, it's the book it now matches, all of those book it now matches, 90% of those are carrier initiated. So brokers are passively putting freight into the system and then seeing success of driver bookings right there. So drivers are looking for those loads that have the little book it now icon. They can even look at reloads before booking the first transaction. So they're able to have some assurance that when they get to the destination, they've got another load. So maybe they're not trying to make all of the money on a single transaction there. We also, again, using our matching algorithms, we try to point them to areas and regions that we know they're heading to on certain days anyway. We also offer this to carriers at the dispatch level. So while this is what it looks like to the driver in the handset, this is also available either through our carrier portal, or we started integrating with carrier TMS platforms, as well as ELD providers. And all of the loads that are in our platform are flowing through to these decision makers on the carrier side. And so we're always trying to increase the eyes on the load and not just passively and see how many people we can possibly expose it to, but we want to expose it to a very specific person inside the carrier organization who's going to make the decision on what load gets booked and what driver is going to end up hauling it. So I know I usually tend to talk quite a bit fast there, but wanted to thank everybody briefly. We'll be back with a little Q&A section for you. If you do think of something down the road, you can always find me on LinkedIn. Again, my name is Matt Silver with Trucker Tools. Our company is posted all over LinkedIn, likely in your newsfeed already, or you can always reach out to sales@truckertools.com. And then before we open it to questions, I want to toss it back to Raven, and she's going to go through a walkthrough of the FMS system and how our features look.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Matt. That was a lot of information, which was very informative, and obviously I'm sure will be very, very beneficial to our customers here. So I wanted to point out before I kind of show here on my screen the things that you pointed out, the main kind of things that you guys at Trucker Tools do, right? You have the digital freight matching, right? The load tracking and the book it now services, right? So for those of you that don't know, we kind of utilize 2 out of those 3 services, right? So freight management systems, we have the digital freight matching and the load tracking here in the system. Henry can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that obviously we are kind of coordinating and trying to in talks with you to try and see if we can incorporate that book it now feature as well. Again, so for any of you, that are interested in Trucker Tools and things like that, having that extra layer there of customizability for your company. And again, just, the whole point of this is keeping everyone connected, right? Having things quickly and on the go when you're moving those loads. So that's the most important thing. So if you see my screen here, I'm in our demo system. And you'll see this, obviously it says demo only, but I'm going to kind of utilize what this looks like in your day-to-day on your end. So here we're going to go to our tracking, and I'm going to bring up our tracking screen here. So I'm going to show essentially what it looks like without the that integration here. So if I just pick this load and I go to edit tracking here, you'll kind of see what a load looks like without that integration here. So you'll see up in the corner here, you can add these events, and you'll see as you start adding those kind of events here between the shipper and consignee, it's going to fill in that information down here. To add, the Trucker Tools integration here, up in the top right corner here, we have the little kind of universal GPS icon. If you click on that and hit Trucker Tools here at the top, right, what this does is essentially we're going to be sending through the Trucker Tools integration a notification to the carrier, right, so to that driver. So on their phone, when we hit send, what we're essentially saying is, can you let us, use some of that, GPS information so that we can update it in the system, right? So in order for the Trucker Tools integration to show up, obviously the driver has to accept. So again, a lot of this is kind of on the back end, but I do want to explain this process to you so you guys, can see how this is kind of working behind the scenes for you guys. So I'm going to show you one that does have the actual Trucker Tools on it. So you'll notice here, just quickly off the top, you'll see already kind of the Trucker Tools logo here. And again, all these flags kind of indicate kind of important things about the loads, but I'm going to bring this up so I can show you. So you'll see here kind of this Trucker Tools logo. This is obviously going to tell us right off the bat that we're tracking this load through Trucker Tools, right? And you'll see here when I hover over these initial events that I could edit manually in the other load, I can't, right? And you'll see kind of that caution sign there, kind of hovering there. And the reason obviously is because Trucker Tools, we're using that integration, right? We're utilizing that service there. It's automatically filling in that information for us. So on the back end of it, right? So if you have that integration set up with Trucker Tools so that, the driver has to update, every hour, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever, right? When they, notify, that integration that, we stopped here and we're now being shipped here, right? Those things are automatically getting updated in our system. But it doesn't stop there, right? So let's say, you need to update some load information here. You can certainly do that by selecting, the update load info. If you have any additional information there, if you have to get rid of it for some reason, you can certainly do that. But the cool thing is you can also manually enter some things. So maybe there's some things in between those scheduled kind of updates from the driver that you need to put in the Trucker Tools tracking area here. You can certainly do that here. But again, all of this back end stuff is working for you guys. So a lot of it is again able to kind of work for you on the other side. So you're not, it's easy as just sending the information and then the driver starts updating that information for you. I do see a question here. We'll answer this. It says, can we just do the tracking with trucker tools as those our loads have to go through the freight board as well?
Yeah, Raven, I'll jump in real quick
Sure.
with that. So the tracking service is completely standalone. Carlos, appreciate the question there. So tracking can be used without any of the other tools, whether it's digital freight matching or Book It Now. There's a lot of companies. We work with brokerages, big and small. Some of them have their own product, their own in-house app, and we're just one of many tools that they use. So they're looking to ping a driver any which way possible. And so sometimes they'll just insert us even as an option 2 or 3 if we're not the primary tracking partner. And to that point, if you have a customer requiring that you use a different service than Trucker Tools, we do share tracking data with all other tracking partners. So if you're, and I'm going to use PepsiCo as an example, and they would like to see Macro Point on their own account, we can take our lat and long and then upload it to your shipper's Macro Point account for them.
Perfect. Awesome. Well said. But yeah, pretty much that is essentially on our end how simple it is, for you guys, right? Just having that, account, that integration with Trucker Tools, we're basically just bringing in all that information into, the one easy place that you can kind of access it, right? So you're not having to jump to all these different accounts to kind of see it. And really, it's just as simple as sending out that notification, click and watch that load get updated. And that's essentially how simple it is in our system. And again, like I said, we're continuing to further our partnership with Trucker Tools, right? We're in talks to do the Book It Now as well. As we start kind of going through that process and updating you, we'll certainly let you guys know and keep you guys updated. But it's exciting seeing how technology is kind of really aiding and seeing where your load is right in real time, and kind of just pushing that communication boundary even further, which I think is really awesome. But obviously, we didn't answer that one question, which is great. I want to open the floor. Was anyone, anyone have any other questions for Matt, myself, or just in general about the system? And I guess, as people are maybe thinking of questions or trying to write in the chat, Matt, did you have any other kind of initial points that you might want to point it out, seeing kind of our end and how, we're kind of utilizing their information in your guys' system?
Yeah, just to kind of expand on the idea of using a single tool rather than all of the tools in conjunction. So certainly our system is designed to kind of be the full life cycle of a load, right? We want to help you find the capacity, whether it's driver initiated or sourcing on the brokerage side. We want to help you provide visibility, and then we want to help you get that POD back to your TMS so you can invoice your customer as quickly as possible. That being said, nothing can't be used individually. Everything is available as a standalone tool. Again, we think it's best to use it all together, but my background's on the brokerage side. I certainly had DAT and Truck Stop and Trucker Tools in my network or my arsenal of tools that we were using for capacity. On the visibility side, I absolutely was a Trucker Tools user along with Macro Point 4 Kites P44. Again, using every way possible to meet the driver where the driver is. That's always going to be the path of least resistance. And I always encourage people to, never think of one tool as a replacement for another. Certainly, we would like to help offset some of your spend with other vendors. But just adding tools to your tool belt, being a little more nimble as a company, again, meet the driver wherever they are is always the best way to kind of get off the ground going. And then as you see success with some of the other tools, maybe you can thin some of your spend elsewhere and come to the Trucker Tool side and click that easy button.
Awesome. Perfect. Well said. And obviously that is, one of the ways why, we integrate with you guys, because you're always pushing kind of that boundary there, which is really, really awesome. But I don't see any other initial questions coming up. And again, if you guys, think of stuff later, specifically to Trucker Tools, certainly reach out to Matt and their sales team. Obviously, they'll answer any questions you may have, about their system specifically, how that works, setting all that stuff up. And then, of course, if you guys have any questions, on our end, how that looks, or, again, how, bringing that information again, is shown in our system. Again, feel free to reach out to us, through sales support, myself, certainly, we can answer all of those questions, at any time, when we're available. But again, I just want to say, thank you, Matt, for taking the time, to kind of explain to our customers kind of, what you guys do, right? And kind of how that kind of looks for them on a day-to-day basis. For those that may already have it, it might have been some new information that they didn't know. For those that are looking to it, right? Obviously, kind of showing them things that, they might not have that they're definitely interested in. So we certainly appreciate that. Did you have any other closing remarks before I kind of wrap this up?
No, thanks so much for letting us be a part of this. We're excited to be back every year, and thanks everybody for jumping on. Again, if you just want to even just see a demo of how the tools work and spend some time, we've got a whole team that just does the demo side of things. So no high pressure sales. We're not going to stalk you or anything like that. We just want to show off how we can help you save some time and money.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much, everyone, for, attending this short little session here. That about wraps it up for today's conference sessions. Tune in tomorrow. We'll start again at noon for, more guest speakers and more kind of insights on our system. And again, any other questions you may have for Matt, Trucker Tools team, or obviously for us, feel free to reach out. But again, thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and hope to see you in future sessions. Have a great day.